Gautham from CIP Study Abroad and Immigration. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and previously worked in Conestoga College and Mohawk College as the International Students Recruitment Officer. Well, yesterday there was this update from the Ontario province regarding the changes to the employer job offer stream, international student with a job offer. So many students have questions regarding this program, so I thought I'll just have a detailed discussion about this program and explain you guys. It's definitely great news, but again, it's not that every student will be eligible. For this program, there are certain requirements and there are certain limitations as to the program. But it's definitely good news. I think additionally, a couple of thousand students would be benefited by these changes. Uh, if we look into the general PNP numbers, Ontario 2023, the province of Ontario has about 16,500 nominations. And this accounts to about 36% of the total Canada's PNP provincial nominations for the entire country, right? So it's definitely big. But again, in the PNP, Ontario OINP, there are almost about eight streams. So this 16,500 from last year, and I hope this year there might be an increase and might be additional benefit to the students who are studying in Ontario. So has to be uh, the quota has to include this. So one thing that I'm really happy is that the announcement has been made at the beginning of the year. So I assume and I think that the province of Ontario will probably do more draws. Last year, there was only one draw for this program, and limited jobs, limited numbers were given for that. But this year, given that they started this at the beginning, and it is most likely that we will see multiple draws for this ONP stream. So let's dive in and we can look into the program in detail. But please follow our YouTube and Instagram channel for more updates. So let's dive in and discuss more about the program details. Guys, if this is the first time you are here, please join our Facebook group. We have about 54,000 members here and also Instagram page and Instagram channel. So let's get to the program here. So this was the update which IRCC posted yesterday, January 2nd, 2024, eligibility for candidates with 1 year college certificate programs, right? So here, what are the updates here? So previously, under this program, this isn't, so let me explain you guys before going in. So in the Ontario Express Entry, Ontario program, there are different streams, right? So there is an express entry stream and there non-express entry stream here. So when you go on to the Ontario Immigrant Program, you will see different programs. So this is the Ontario Expression of Interest streams, right? So if you have a job offer in Ontario, then you can apply under the employer job offer foreign worker stream, employer job offer international student stream, employer job offer in demand stream. So these are expression of interest. And then, basically, this is a non-express entry stream where you'll have to create an expression of interest. Master's graduate stream and PhD stream. So these five streams are non-express entry, and there are three streams which are Ontario Express Entry stream, which is the human capital stream, skilled trade stream, and French speaking stream. So in these three, you do not have to do anything. If you have a valid express entry profile, Ontario province will pick up based on their priorities, what they are planning. So human capital, mostly we see healthcare and tech. Skill trades, we see group 72, 73, 74, 74, 8. There are a couple of groups out there. So that is what. So let's dive into the program, what we are discussing today. So this was basically what the update was. So prior to January 1, 2024, students who completed a 1 year certificate from an Ontario college were only eligible if the program required a degree for admission. So previously, this was the requirement. Let's say, for example, Conestoga College, right? If you look into any program in Conestoga College previously, let's look in, for example, Jennifer is here. Jennifer is one of our students from Chennai. Jennifer, you studied supply chain, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. I did supply chain.
Yeah, so Conestoga College, supply chain, right? So if you look at the program here, supply chain management program, here, if you look into the admission requirements on the program, so the previously the admission requirement said a diploma or a degree, right? So this made the program not ineligible, not eligible because the as per the requirement only a degree was required, but all the college programs, 1 year postgraduate certificate programs, had a requirement which was degree or a diploma for admission. So, effectively, from the 1st of January, the province of Ontario, I made a previous video a couple of months ago. Ontario province did make an effort. They did say that they will be updating the program, and I was sure that this probably would be the program. So, this was the program which has made changes. So, effective January 1, 2024, all the students who study at least 1 year, any graduate certificate programs which takes at least 1 year to graduate will be included in this program. So this is basically the program. And if we go down to the education requirements here, you will see that so this is basically right, a graduate degree or a diploma that takes at least 1 year if you pursued on a full-time basis from a Canadian education institution. A graduate certificate that takes at least 1 year to complete if pursued on a full-time from an Ontario eligible institution. And universities in Canada, in Ontario are also offering 1 year PG programs, so they are also eligible. So this has been an update which IRCC has made. So it's good news, definitely. But again, as I said, it doesn't make all the students eligible because this is an employer based program. It all depends on the employer requirements here and also the job nature, the job stream, what you're applying. So if you look here, if you go down, so what are the requirements here, right? Let's go through this each and every requirement out here so that there's no confusion about this. Okay. So first requirement is a job offer. To qualify under the employer job offer stream, international student stream, you must have a job offer from Ontario. So a job offer from an Ontario is required. Second, right, let's keep the self-employed parts. So full-time, the job offer must be full-time and a permanent position. And full-time means that the job must be at least 1560 hours. Okay. Full-time hours 30. Then permanent means the job should not have, it should be a permanent position. It should not have an end date. If you have a contract job, seasonal job, there you are, then it is not eligible. Okay. And if an employer has some ongoing labor disputes, they will not be considered. So what are the jobs eligible? So any job in tier 0, 1, 2, 3 is eligible. And there are also requirements regarding the wage, right? So last time I think there was a draw for Ontario employed job offer foreign worker stream. In that stream, basically people they had the requirement was the median salary, but here the pay of the job must meet or be higher than the low wage salary. So for every province there is a wage, minimum wage, it should meet the wage limit as well. Okay, so let's skip that, you can read it, I'll post the link there. An employer has to prove that the position is urgently necessary to the employer's business, right? So this is also very critical. But if you're already working for this employer and at least 6 to 1 year, I think employer should be able to explain that you already have the work experience and everything, right? Okay, and the work should be based in Ontario. It is not for any other province, right? What are the requirements for the applicants, right? The applicants to apply for this program, right? You should have received an invitation because you create enough you submit your expression of interest. If you are chosen, you have to you should have received your invitation, and then you should demonstrate that you have the qualifications that you claimed so that to be eligible for the program. So education we have just discussed. If you are in the skilled trades, valid, some skilled trades require license. That if the license is required, mandatory, then you should get it. And very important, it is intention to live in Ontario. So if you're not living in Ontario, it is still fine. Okay. But you should clearly explain your intention to Ontario. You must intend to live in Ontario after you have been granted permanent residence. We determine this by examining your ties to Ontario, which include the following: working or having worked in Ontario, getting job offers or applying to the interview for jobs, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. So this is basically what you will have to show here, right? Legal status here in legal, you should have a legal status. You may apply if you are under implied status at the time of your ONP application, and you should submit your application within 2 years after graduating. So if you graduated, say one of our students we just had graduated in June 2022, so the person should apply before June 2024. Okay, so employer requirements. So this is the most critical part here, right? Most students meet the requirements, but the employer requirements are more critical here. The general requirement is the employer should have had the business for at least 3 years. Okay. So 3 years is what is required. Have a business premises. They should have a physical office here in Ontario and should not have any outgoing labor disputes. And very important again, revenue requirements. Your employer, if you are talking to your employer to support you for this program, your employer should be willing to provide their revenue requirements as well. Okay, the revenues. So if the company is in GTA, they should have a minimum of 1 million in revenue, total revenue. If it is if it is in Toronto, in Greater Toronto and Greater Toronto area, and they should have at least five full-time Canadians or permanent residents working. So revenue requirements and minimum of five people. If the employer is outside of GTA, then the minimum requirement is $500,000 of gross annual revenue, right? And at least three full-time employers. Okay, so this is the required. Then there is an employer has to fill this form, employer requirement form here. And then the biggest challenge here, this is the scoring factors, right? So you will see a lot of Instagrammers, YouTubers, they just give the initial update. But again, the reality is that not every student qualifies. It is more employer focused. It depends on your employer to support you. So there are additional points here. So there is job offer category. Depending on the job offer, if it is 0, you get 1 to 10 points. If it is not tier 2, then you get 3 to 8 points, 0 to 8 points, tier 4. So job offer broad occupation. So if it is 0 to 3, 10 points, 7 points here, and wage as well. Depending on your wage, you might get. So if you get less than 20 hours, there are 0 points. If you get more than $20, then you get 5 points, 20 to 25 5 points. Maximum you get 40 hours or higher, you get 10 points. And then work permit or study permit. If you are here in Canada with a valid work permit and study permit, you get 10 points. And then also, if you are working with this employer, if you're working for more than 6 months, you get 3 points. Less than 6 months, you need 0 points. Earning history. If you have more than 40,000 salary, you get 3 points. Less than 40, you have 0 points. And here, education, your highest level of education, PhD, the highest 10 points, master's 8 points, bachelor's. So there's so many things which, why? Because IRC, Canada wants educated people who will, who will contribute to the community here. And again, as we see in the targeted draws, there are high points for STEM occupations. So 12 points. If a person is from a STEM job offer and has an education, field of study was STEM, then you will have 12 points. If it is business and administration, social, legal, education, behavioral science, you get 6 points, right? So if it arts and humanities, business humanities, you get 0 points. So these things are very important. And also your language, and also where is the job located. If you are in the rural areas, for example, Northern Ontario, you get 10 points. If you are outside of GTA, you get 8 points. Inside of GTA, except Toronto, 3. If you are in Toronto, you get 0, because what does IRCC want? They want people to live outside of Toronto, because most of the international students actually want to live, in the big cities because of the job opportunities, but they are encouraging the employers from from the other parts, Toronto, apart from Toronto, to support this temporary residents to becoming permanent residents here. So this is basically, what is the summary of this new program, right? So we'll just, I'll just stop the live and then we can take it forward. So, guys, this is Gautham Kolluri. I'm a regulated immigration consultant and founder director of CIP, Study Abroad and Immigration Specialist. Please follow us for updates. And we have a daily Zoom session, free consultation from 9 a.m. to 12 during the weekdays. So, if you have any questions,